Men who don't work out are like women who cry on TikTok after their pet bunny dies. It's disordered, weak, and hard to look at.
That's just funny.
When women are pregnant, they eat for two. When my female friends are pregnant, I drink for two, as I will today on this episode of the Yes or No Game with my friend, Candace Owens. Now, before we get to my guest, you've got to order this game. The Yes or No Game is available right now, dailywire.com/shop. You can test your knowledge of your friends and loved ones, up to 9 players, all sorts of questions covering every single topic. dailywire.com/shop. And now I will figure out which of my friend and loved one knows the other one better right now.
I just want to be forthcoming. I am a sore loser.
I know.
So I will flip the table.
Yeah, I believe it.
The results are not that I win.
But you're going to have one advantage, which is, I think this is non-alcoholic.
Oh, I thought you were going to say people will be understanding because I'm pregnant and therefore emotional.
No, well, that's true also. But I think it's non-alcoholic. Otherwise, your baby number 3 will just have a lovely time in utero today. Do you know the rules?
I know the rules.
Okay.
Ish.
And you know, that's how I feel too.
Yeah.
You know, ladies go first.
Okay.
So you take the first card.
Okay. Do I read this out loud?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Princess Diana's death was an accident. Such a good one.
Yeah.
Who does this
Such
stuff?
a good one because it's so obvious. Okay, ready? Now you take mine.
What I think you're going to say?
Yeah. 1, 2, 3. Awful convenient, that tunnel in Paris, isn't it? Awful convenient. Did I get your guess right?
No.
You think it was an accident?
I'm like the biggest conspiracy theorist, but like I actually think that one might have just been an accident.
Is it just because you're friends with the Windsors?
No,
Is that why?
no.
Yeah?
It's just
Prince
straight-
Philip's gone. You don't need to protect him anymore.
It's weird. You know what it is? I think I haven't looked into that one enough,
Mm-hmm.
and I just have memories when I was a kid of that happening and everyone being like, it was an accident. And I just accepted the truth.
Yeah.
I accepted that the mainstream media was telling me the truth.
Yeah,
when I was a
they
child.
would never lie to you.
They would never lie.
Of course.
To
And the
an
thing
8-year-old.
is, her continued existence only threatened the last major monarchy in the West,
Is
right?
that, is that the theory?
Well, she was, it's kind of weird for your future queen to be divorced from the future king and then for her to be shacking up with some like Arab guy. I don't know. It's just a little
I
odd.
think the Arab guy's Prince Harry's dad, though.
Now that's a theory I had not heard. So the red hair, it's from Genghis Khan, actually.
It's from the Arab
it's
guy.
recessive. Okay, so now I go. Given that they make up only 6% of the population and are responsible for 65% of all related deaths, Pitbulls should be outlawed as pets. A little edgy, fellas.
Ooh, wow.
A little edgy out there.
Outlawed as pets.
Yes.
I gotta think about your answer. Okay, let's go. Oh, wait, I go this way?
Correct.
That's correct.
Yeah.
I would say no.
Really? You don't think you're
I
fine
would
with
say no.
Pitbulls?
No, I'm not fine with Pitbulls at all. But I think if you outlaw it, it just brings into question a lot of other things that we'd have to consider more deeply. And I would say, I think people should not own Pitbulls. I am so against Pitbulls.
sure.
I think it is ridiculous when people are like, it depends on the owner. It's like, how many more stories can the people that said it depends on the owner then get eaten by the Pitbulls?
Yeah.
You know
It's
what I mean?
always
You're like,
it's
not
always the owner. It's always the owner.
It's not the owner.
Except
it's an aggressive dog.
Yeah.
I am I think I would offer that I do think it should be outlawed around children. Like I think when you have a small child and you have Pitbull, it should be outlawed. You should not be allowed to have Pitbull with a small child.
But then what if, let's say it's just a single guy and he's got a Pitbull? He's going to take the dog for a walk. You're going to go to the park.
Yeah. Well,
And there's going to be kids at the park.
but is he going to take him to the park?
Well, also now, if he goes to one of these millennial parks, it's just only dogs. It's
Right.
only millennials and dogs.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Maybe in like certain places too, like in New York City where there's just like a lot of humans. But I guess if you're like living in Columbia, Tennessee, and you've got like 800 acres.
Right.
I mean, what's it going to kill a deer?
Yeah, if
Probably.
you're in the steplands of Central Asia, you can have a pit bull.
You can have a pit bull, yeah.
Otherwise.
But I just think it's ridiculous that people, like, I think we should be responsible enough to stop buying pit bulls and especially putting them around small children, because the truth is they're just aggressive. I mean, I just read a story about one got off the leash and ran across the street and killed somebody's dog and then mauled someone's face. I'm just like, every day there's a news story and you look at the statistics and it's like, it's telling a story. They're like, no, it's the owner. I'm like, is everybody's got a pit bull is just training their pit bulls to do these things?
Right. Also, the thing that they forget about, they're anthropomorphizing dogs in a way that is only going to get worse as millennials treat their dogs as children. But dogs don't have a reason. So it's true, if you train a dog in a bad way, the dog is going to maybe behave worse than if you train him in a good way. But it's not as though the dog can reason about abstract things like justice and the morality of chomping on a little toddler or something like that. So you just can't blame the dog.
Right.
You can't blame the pit bull when he eats the toddler. That's his instinct. That's his genetics.
Especially because as they age, all dogs and cats get ornery anyways.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like my cat, as she got older, she was just like less tolerant. And like she swiped once. Never has ever even hissed at me, nothing. But then my baby was born and he was pulling at her and she just swipes. Like she's an animal. You know what I mean? So her instinct when something's pulling at her face is to swipe. And I think people are completely deluded when it comes to pit bulls. I did a whole episode on this. Yeah. But I would stop short of saying to outlaw them because I think there are probably deeper considerations there. It might be a slippery slope. Like a libertarian kind of thing? You're no libertarian. I'm definitely not a libertarian. Yeah. I have to think about that one. Okay. All right. Well, I'll drink anyway. I don't. No, you have to drink.
It's unclear.
You have to take a big, I don't even know me.
I'll take a little gulp.
Big
yeah.
sip.
Okay.
I might change my mind on Princess Diana though. So I might have you throw that back up.
You're up.
All right.
And I'll move your card too.
Wow.
We have a nice old discard pile.
My team is hotter than your team.
This is not taking a lot of thought for
me.
Yeah.
I think that you would have to agree.
Yeah, I mean, do I have eyes?
Yeah, exactly.
And reason? And two brain cells to rub together?
Yeah, obviously. Yeah. My team is hotter than your team.
And who are you going to compare? I've got Mr. Davies and producer Jacob.
Guys, I've got girls. That was a very easy one.
That was a very simple one. Yeah.
So if you get it right, do I drink?
I always play by the rule, if you get it wrong, you have to drink. Okay. If you get it right, you get to drink.
Well, I'm betting whatever it is.
You're betting 1,000.
Yeah. When you're doing really well.
Those are, okay, it's me.
I just know you so well.
You do know me so well. Listen, I'm an open book.
Yeah.
But you're a mystery wrapped in an enigma. Even after all these years, there's still... Unless you're a total lib, it's clear that women should keep it zipped while at church.
Okay.
Really interesting diction.
Yeah, I like the way it's being presented. Oh, I forgot to bring this back.
Unless you're a total lib, women should keep it zipped at church. I would say, because of the wording, actually, of the statement, no, it's perfectly right for women to take part in the solemn high mass, in the Salve Regina, in some of the chanting, and some of the responses, et cum spiritu tuo, that sort of. No, they shouldn't be preaching or doing any of these parading rituals.
That's what I was thinking. I thought they were preaching, which is why I would say yes.
Obviously they shouldn't.
Yeah, they should not be preaching.
But should
they speak at all in a church?
Should they speak at all?
A wider question.
Now, in the low mass, they should not. But really, nobody should.
Yeah, you got me. You got me right on that one.
Okay,
you got me right on that one.
But should they preach?
Absolutely not.
Absolutely, under no circumstances.
It's just the most absurd thing ever, and it's part of the reason why I have a lot of questions about Protestantism. There's a lot of that going on.
Yeah, you're on a journey.
I'm on a journey.
You're on a journey.
What I would say.
Aren't we all? Aren't we all? Okay. Wasn't there there was a big split with the Baptists over this?
There was.
Because one of the big Baptists.
Out in LA.
Yeah,
mega church.
I thought he was a conservative guy, but then he was promoting priestesses.
Suddenly he said priestesses are a thing and he apologized to women. And I just thought to myself, this is how we're going to end up with homosexuals in the church. Someone's going to say, I read the scripture and I've done research and actually it's totally fine to be a homosexual and lead a church. And it's totally fine to be trans. Yeah. Once you start seeing how you interpret the scripture, it becomes very problematic very fast. And that is the reason why Methodist churches are flying the LGBTQ, I don't know how many letters they've tacked on since, flag.
No, the main line is completely gone. My priest in New York, great friend of mine, was an Episcopalian priest. He became a Catholic priest over this priestesses thing back in the 70s. And I said, a friend of mine might become an Anglican priest. And he said, Michael, that's not like rearranging the deck chairs on the Titanic. It's like grabbing hold as the Titanic goes all the way down. And so all the main line is gone. But I thought the evangelicals and the Baptists and things like that, the low churches, I thought among Protestants, I thought they were doing relatively better. But then all this stuff starts infecting them too.
Yeah, well, to be fair, when they took a vote,
they booted the guy out.
Yeah, they did boot him out.
Yeah,
so there is that. But it wasn't the margins were not 100%. I mean, it was literally like, I think, I don't know, maybe something like 15 of the churches voted like, yes, they should still stay in. And I was like, this is a problem. Like, even the vote is a problem. On the basis of your vote, if you voted yes, they should stay in, you should be kicked out.
This is the thing. And the way the feminists frame it as, unless we have the women take over all these traditionally male spaces, you're going to have weak women. And I think a weak women, like all the great female saints of the church, like St. Lucy, like Teresa of Avila, all the really strong modern women, present company, I'm not flattering you, present company very much included, compared to what? Some like shrieky little feminist or something? Give me a break.
Well, I'm just saying women in leadership roles in general, whether it's even women casting ballots and voting, becomes problematic because we vote emotionally. Currently, if going up against the Trumpers, the Rama Swami mommies actually have a better chance of getting their guy in the White House than the DeSimps do. Yes or no?
In the primary against the Trumpers, who does better, the Rama Swami mommies?
First I've heard that term, but I'm liking that.
That's quite
I'm
a
liking
term.
that.
Yeah, or the DeSimps. The Rama Swami mommy seems kind of nice. The DeSimps, it seems not
a little derogatory.
Yeah.
I didn't write this. I just want to be very
this
clear.
This is someone has a bias.
Somebody.
Okay. You're putting me over here on your side.
I don't know how this
works. You got to do it
on.
I'm
you're
saying no.
Yes or no.
So you're going to go say no.
Okay.
So put that there.
At least I was on no. At least I had generally speaking, there's 2 yeses. You probably just need 1 on this table.
You're right. That's true.
Yeah, you just need 1 yes and 1 no.
That's for the designers.
Sorry.
So I said that you would say that the Ramaswamy mommies have a better shot than the DeSimps.
That is correct. I would say absolutely.
And you got me right.
Yeah,
I think the DeSimps have a better shot than the Ramaswamy mommies against the Trumpers.
The DeSimps are just the comms team. They're not likable. It is really, actually, you tweeted this I think yesterday, but I tweeted it like 3 weeks ago, and I just saw it, and I was like, their team has completely crushed his chances, and it's
so
because
I didn't believe
they're so angry at the Trumpers, but they're angry at like 0.0000017% of people that are yelling at them online.
Yes.
And they're like basically making every person that supports Trump guilty of the sins of maybe 4 people that they're fighting online. And it's actually making them lose. Like they need Trump support.
And it's just prudentially, it's insane. It's not that I thought you were wrong when you made this point. It's not. I was a little skeptical because I had never experienced it firsthand.
No.
And then this happened to me yesterday because I tweeted out. It was after they all got upset that Trump said that Xi Jinping is an impressive leader. And I said, look, 1, he's just bragging about how he beat an impressive leader at a trade deal. But 2, there is a strain of conservatism that kind of admires Xi Jinping because he keeps his country in order and because he governs according to some conception, albeit perhaps misguided, of the common good. And that's not the libertarian kind of right-wing stuff, but there is a strain of traditional conservative thought that kind of admires strong leaders who keep their country together.
Yeah, sort of like people that admire Vladimir Putin. Sort of.
But kind of like the people who say, look, I don't like Putin, but I admire that he's done this, that, or the other thing, right? And all of a sudden, it's not that I was attacked by conservatives randomly who don't like Xi Jinping. It was these DeSantis accounts. I'm not saying they're being paid by the campaign or anything, but they all have the little alligator, and they're accounts that exist basically just to promote DeSantis.
Mm-hmm.
And they started attacking me. And I thought, and kind of personally attacking me, and they're probably still doing it. And I thought, this is really strange. I am not endorsing in the primary.
Right.
I praise Ron DeSantis for something or another almost every day on my show. I have spent some time with Ron DeSantis. I really like him. I also really like Donald Trump. So I think if you're going after me, the most, I'm calling it like I sees it, how many voters are you turning off? Look, the Trump campaign doesn't need to worry about this. Trump's up 30 points in the polls. DeSantis is down at 20% or less.
Mm-hmm.
They have to win over a huge number of Trump voters. And so if you're just going to personally, viciously attack, it reflects so poorly on the candidate, even though Ron DeSantis personally has nothing to do with this.
Yeah.
You know, it's just a very poor reflection of an otherwise, I think, good candidate.
It's exactly what I was very even keel going into it. Like, I was interested to see how things played out, wasn't committed to any candidate, felt how I felt about Ron DeSantis. I didn't like the way he kind of entered in.
Yeah, you were always skeptical of
him, but
yeah.
not enough to like attack him or say anything was wrong with him. And then his Christina Pushaw, who's in comms, she is quite vicious, and did
she go after? She's always been nice to me.
She went after me, and
really?
It was a step on your head while you're drowning. Go after someone by liking a bunch of tweets and tweeting, like subtweeting things to suggest that I was responsible for what Kanye West said.
Oh, the Kanye.
So it was like, it was jumping on that, but it's just like, okay, you are running an account that says that you represent the ideas of Ron DeSantis. You're just pushing people away, right? Like, if there's like, they do that all the time, though. It's not just like she weighs in on issues that have nothing to do with Ron DeSantis, but she is the voice for Ron DeSantis. And so when she does that, people assume this must be what Ron DeSantis thinks about this. She shouldn't do that. So that's what I said they thought they had a Kayleigh McEnany who was excellent when she was press secretary, right? She was a sharpshooter, but she didn't speak about things that Trump wasn't concerned about. So they're not able to separate their personal feelings from what Ron's feelings are, and that people are seeing it, like they're reflecting it. It's actually hurting Ron. Yeah. So that's my take on it. I think their campaign, whereas they pretend to be above it, they're like, we're different from Trump. We're Trump without the drama. No. They're very petty. They're very dramatic. Vivek is actually the person who is saying above it all. He's above the fray.
He's not going after anybody.
He doesn't go after anybody. He just tells you his ideas. So DeSantis' campaign is pretending to be what Vivek actually is. And when I had Vivek on my show, I was so impressed. I was so refreshed. I really liked him. And I like that he still, even though obviously he's competing with Trump, he has great reverence for all the things that Trump has done. Even when he speaks about things that Ron DeSantis is getting wrong, he's very level. It's never personal. It just talks about this is what he's getting wrong in Florida and here's what I would do differently. And so I am... I guess, are we calling people Rama Swami mommies?
Rama Swami mommy.
But I'm a Rama Swami mommy.
But it's it's not just the candidates, because DeSantis doesn't personally attack people, really, right?
But the people, everyone around him does.
And it's interesting because I hadn't noticed it about his staffers. I really was only noticing it about like rapid response, random accounts that just spend all their day. That's interesting.
Staffers, influencers, and I'm like, you guys are all hurting his campaign. You're hurting his campaign.
Because you look at the Vivek team, for starters, I don't know. I mean, I know them in the sense that I'm friends with Vivek Ramaswamy, and so I kind of, if I were just like an outsider looking at the campaign, I wouldn't know any of their names, and that's probably a good thing.
I think it's a good thing. Yeah, I think it's a good thing. He really does remain above it. So I very much like Vivek, and I like that people are now starting to pay attention to him and listening to his ideas.
But do you think, okay, all of that to say though, he's at whatever,
I think he's going to eclipse DeSantis.
Do you really think that? Because wow,
I think he will eventually. Yeah, I think he will.
That's okay.
Yeah, he's catching some fire.
Listen, the Ramaswamy mommy just made the prediction.
I made the prediction right here.
Men who don't work out are like women who cry on TikTok after their pet bunny dies. It's disordered, weak, and hard to look at.
That's just funny. Who wrote these cards?
I don't know. Some Philistine, probably.
Okay, so men who don't work out are like women who cry on TikTok. I'm going to focus on that first part because it's kind of the second part is it's just sort of blah, blah, blah. I have to think about this. Hold on. Don't do it yet. Okay, I got mine.
Okay. You certainly got that right. Did I get that right?
Yeah.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
You know how I knew?
Why?
Because George is an exceptionally good-looking man. But he's not like in the gym. He's not some like gym bro with
He's not a gym bro, but he works out every morning.
Does he?
He rows.
So it's just me.
Yeah, it's
he rows,
just you.
Of course he rows.
I know you were looking for a friend in
so
this.
British. Wow.
Yeah, he rows every morning at 4:30.
Yeah. He just plays a game of cricket every single morning.
And then he jumps in the pool. He does the ice plunge.
Yeah.
And then he jumps in there. So
Little
he's
pickleball.
And then he also runs. But he doesn't do the like.
Yeah. No, he doesn't.
No. That's very un-British.
That is.
Yeah.
And it's also, my argument as to why these are not comparable things and why working out is overrated is I'd like to think that I'm really, really
Ripped.
fit. Yeah, no, I'm fit by the standards of a guy from the 50s.
Okay.
Like I eat a lot of fatty meats
Mhm.
and I drink and I smoke cigars and I've never seen the inside of a gym. And in the 50s, you think of Superman or, I don't know, Ricky Ricardo or just like any guy from the 50s. They were all just kind of like a bit doughy, but not, they weren't
But I think
they weren't
the 50s is
fat. They were
different.
just, how's it different?
It's a bit anachronistic to do that because people were just more active in general because there was less tech. So whereas now you have to isolate your fitness because it's so easy to be lazy, right?
It's true.
Then, your grandparents, as you know, walked up
Both
the
ways.
hill both ways to go to school, which is
in snow.
Yeah, in
the summer.
Exactly, in the summer.
Yeah.
All of our grandparents did it. We know this.
Yeah.
So I always think it's funny because I think about my grandfather because he never worked out.
Yeah.
But he was always working out. Like he was in the yard. He was, you know what I mean? So he was very physical. Whereas now we live a very sedentary lifestyle. Yeah. So I think you do have to incorporate some sort of a fitness. But I wouldn't say it's like women who cry on TikTok because that's just demonstrative of like complete and utter
psychic collapse.
Yeah, psychic collapse. Yeah. Which is like that, which is not the same as a man not working out. So you can row. I feel like you would, by the way. Yale, George's, Oxford. Like it's kind of right up the alley.
Yeah. No, I'll be the coxswain at the end calling out the orders.
All right, my turn. Yeah. Don't get this wrong, okay?
Okay, I'll try.
I'm going to be really angry.
I'll try.
Yeah.
I'll try.
I'm going to flip a table for no reason.
Yeah.
This is really good. Having a Ukraine flag in your bio is more forgivable than wearing Crocs.
Than wearing Crocs?
Yeah.
Correct.
This is a tough one for me. This is very, very tough for me.
There's no easy answer.
There is not an easy answer. If it feel better because you've said that, because I'm about to cry on TikTok, to be honest. Feeling real close to a cry on TikTok. And
Zelensky.
Okay, you got me.
There we go.
Yeah,
okay,
you just said his name. I just wanted to punch him in the face again, straight in the face. Oh, they always pull the clip.
Wait, that guy who just wants to start World War III.
If I could get away with it, I would, but I know I'm not allowed to, so I wouldn't do it. But if I could,
if you get taken down for threatening violence against
Zelensky, that would be amazing.
That would be.
I would be a hero. I would be a hero.
You were early. I mean, I've always tried to be kind of moderate about Mr. Zelensky and all this, but you early on, you said, I don't like the guy.
I know grifter when I see one, okay?
Highest paid actor in the world.
Highest paid
You got $100 billion.
I mean, wearing the fatigues the whole time. Put on a different outfit.
Yeah.
We know that you're not in the trenches, okay?
Go to the White House, please put on a necktie.
Please, show some respect. We've sent you billions. And by the way, now they've traveled to Saint-Tropez. The Ukrainians now have yachts. They've got shallots in Switzerland. They've got yachts in... No, I'm not kidding.
Right.
I'm just looking at these are our tax dollars. But at least he's wearing the army fatigues. He can't be bothered to buy a tux. It's like, bro, you can buy a Tom Ford tux 20,000 times today, okay? His wife shopping at Prada in France. I mean, I can't stand it. Yeah. You're right. That was the right answer.
It was.
I'm about to freak out right now.
Not an easy answer, but a simple answer.
Yeah, a very simple answer.
There is a topic I would like to debate Ben Shapiro on.
Oh my goodness. Absolutely.
Yeah. It would be unpleasant to lose my job, but I don't know. I mean,
But it might be fun.
Yeah, that's the thing. I guess the reason it might be a no is a topic out of 10,000 topics.
Yeah, I know. What would be one topic?
I have to say.
Actually, give us all 10,000. We've got time.
Happily. So I would like to brag just a little bit and pay a compliment to my friend Ben, which is back in the day, years and years ago, he and we would get into fights all the time about...
Physical?
Always physical, always kind of like this. And we'd always get into fights about political philosophy. Because there were certain thinkers that I really admire and enjoy that he didn't like. I'm thinking of people like Michael Oakeshott. This is a really nerdy fight. People like Michael Oakeshott, people like Russell Kirk, people like Edmund Burke, and Ben didn't like them. He's a John Locke guy, he's more of an Enlightenment guy. And I'm kind of an anti-Enlightenment guy. I'm an anti-liberal guy. And I will say this, and this is to Ben's great credit. Over the years, he's starting to simp for my guys.
Is
man. He's kind of like an Oakshot guy now. He's like definitely kind of a Burke guy now. So
it's not a debate then.
It's no debate. It's just drinks and agreeing.
So you would like to drink and agree with Ben Shapiro? I would debate him on vaccines. That would be, people would love that, by the way.
So this is another one, though. He used to be super duper pro.
100%.
Now, isn't he a little questioning?
I don't know. I don't think so.
Certainly on the COVID vaccine he is. Well, now he said he wouldn't have gotten the COVID vaccine.
Yeah, exactly. But I don't know about all the other ones. I think that'd be super
that's true. That would be great.
Interesting.
How do we get that set up?
Yeah,
producers?
Exactly.
Oh, I'm down for that.
Yeah, right?
Yeah. I'll bring my martini.
Exactly.
You're up.
All right. This is going to be a good one. What? Seed oils cause sunburns.
Why? Since you're an educated person, I assume you know the answer to that.
I'm going to take your lead on that.
You kind of gave away the answer here.
You got this wrong, so you're going to have to drink. And you have to drink a lot.
Really?
Yeah.
Whoa,
you know why?
What?
I don't know anything about seed oils. And this was almost a racist question because I don't get sunburned. So this is like, I don't know anything about seed oils.
You're right.
I don't get sunburned. So I'm like, obviously that's not true because I've definitely eaten seed oils and I've never gotten sunburned because I'm black. So I'm just doing a little common sense here. Seed oils can't be causing sunburn for black people.
This is the best argument I've ever heard as to why seed oils don't.
Yeah, absolutely not. So, I've consumed a lot of seed oils in my life. I've never gotten a sunburn because I'm black.
Let me tell you something. On this point, on this exact point, my mother, my beloved mother, was very dark-skinned. I'm having
like Italian black. I've seen Italian blacks.
Sicilian.
Yeah.
I mean,
they get super dark.
I remember I saw photos of her when she was young, and when I was a kid, I said, "Oh, Mom, I didn't know you were black as a kid." And I did, and even in the summer, and she goes, "Well, Michael, it's sort of cut." Anyway, we'll talk about it later. But even later on, like when I was a kid, I get very brown in the summer, but she would get black, and I always thought, okay, I wouldn't sunburn. But then in my teen years, for some reason, I started sunburning.
Wow.
And I thought, what now? In retrospect, I realized I was consuming a lot of seed oils. And then sweet little Elisa, who follows all the hippie stuff that you follow, she says, Mac, you got to stop. No more seed oils. We're not going to cook with them. We're not going to eat. Whatever. So I greatly reduced it. I was like, this is some hippie dippy nonsense. I don't get sunburns anymore. And I'm a little bit of that olive oil. I could burn. I don't, right?
Yeah, but what are the seed oils in? The reason why
everything.
I don't want to go,
everything.
Here's the thing, is
I'm
just already so crunchy that I'm fearful that if I look into, everybody keeps telling me, they're telling me to look into it. I'm like, guys, you don't understand. I will go crazy. Like I will be a psycho.
Yeah, I know.
I will just bite onto it like a pit bull.
Yes, like a pit bull on a tasty toddler.
Yes.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Well, you're there, Candace, because you can't turn away from the truth when you see it.
I know, it's going to be so bad, though. Yeah. I'm already like an 82-year-old full grandma right now. And if I start looking at them I know how I am. All right, fine. I'm going to look into it. Oh,
Candace, you're going to Google it, and 6 minutes later,
I'm going to be done.
You're going to be done.
I know. I can no longer avoid it. Yeah, it's following me.
I'm easy to work with. So
Ready?
This is how I think you would answer about yourself. And you're answering how I would answer about myself.
Okay. Ready? Go.
Absolutely correct. And I say you would say that you are not easy to work with.
Savannah?
Savannah!
Oh, she pisses me off when I say something like that and she doesn't get over here.
You get it. I know.
I would say I'm easier to work with than George. I actually do.
I think you're
okay. I'm easy to work with. I have to really think about this. I don't know what I would say. Just drink anyways.
I'm going to choose.
Yeah, because you should just drink for me. Yeah, drink again. Because I think what I would say is I think I'm very easy to work with because you know why? No one ever leaves my team. So that's got to be, usually you get a high turnover rate, you're not easy to work with. But I would say that when it comes to my show, I'm a perfectionist. And so down to like naming the titles, all of stuff, I'm very involved. And if something's not right, when somebody like is slipping that day and I'm like, listen, I write the show, I go, like, you got to do this job and you got to do it right. And I will So I think that's just like everyone has to bring their A game.
But it's not easy. Like I think about it with Jeremy too. Is it Jeremy easy to work with? Jeremy is that's going to sound like I'm being too nice. Please don't tell Jeremy I said this. Jeremy is a joy to work with. It's the joy of my professional life to work with Jeremy. The guy's a creative genius. It's every day is something new. It's just he's not easy to work with. I mean, same thing. He's got this crazy vision and he's ruthlessly perfectionist about everything. And so it's not easy, but it's very gratifying. And I see a kind of a similar thing.
I would say I'm super nice to everyone. That I know people will say over and over again. I'm definitely not mean. I never raise my voice. I don't believe in yelling. I think actually when you yell at people, it shows that you've lost control.
Yeah.
But
you do believe in corporal punishment.
But I hit them.
You hit them.
I do hit Savannah.
You do.
But that's different.
It's different.
Yeah, totally
it's sort
different.
of
People get it.
Just for recreation. Yeah. Okay.
My turn.
You're up.
You are definitely easy to work with.
I am.
Yeah,
I'm just such a.
You're like, whatever.
Huh? What?
Joy,
get
life,
it? Turn it in on.
easy.
Don't turn it in. I don't know.
Oh, this is so great. Most likely, Savannah will be fired before Ben Davies. Brilliant timing on this.
You know, the sharpness of that question might change my answer. Actually.
1, 2, 3.
No.
We can never be too sure.
No. I'd like to make this announcement. Right now.
Mm-hmm.
I've enjoyed working with Ben Davies, and I appreciate his contributions to my show, but I think it's time for him to move on.
Yeah, I do too.
Yeah.
But I was just about to say that about Savannah. So you just got to speak first.
It's really,
but I have enjoyed her contributions.
You're going to lose them both?
We're going to just lose them both. Nice. I feel free now.
Well,
we can just say whatever we want now.
Mr. Davies already wrote the rest of my questions, so I don't need him until the next episode. You know?
Brilliant timing.
Anyway. Okay, no,
You're up.
I'm up.
You're up.
If you're not married by 30, you should only really be concerned if you're a woman.
1, 2, 3.
Drink, my dear.
Drink
your seltzer water. Drink your seltzer.
Oh my gosh. You would say no. Explain.
Yes, because people are going to start to wonder about you, first of all, if you're a man. And they're going to wonder about your loafers and the heaviness or lightness of them. But the other thing, you should be concerned, forget about how people perceive you. Because, I think it's perfectly fine to obviously engage in religious life, join an order or even consecrated singlehood or something like that. But if you lack the charism for celibacy and you're single by 30 and you're a fella, you are very likely going to be fornicating or looking at porn. Men, it's like we're riding around on an elephant. The libido is so insane. And even more, I know women, sort of throw themselves at me as I'm walking down the street, but it's not like, women have no idea. For men, the sexual drive is just so intense that if you're single and you don't really have an outlet for that, and you're in your late 20s, 30, it's not going to be conducive to your virtue.
Okay, but what was the question?
You should be concerned. You should only be concerned if you're a woman.
Okay, so it's how you think about what concern is.
Yeah.
Okay, that's an interesting take on it. Because what I would say is that I heard that question and thought, women, biological clock ticking, you should be concerned. You haven't found a partner.
Mm-hmm.
You've got a very short runway now to get this figured out.
Yeah.
And also, I had this ex-boyfriend. I actually dated a guy. And the reason why I was going to say I disagree about 30 is because women like older men. So they're not like running out of time. There's no biological clock that's ticking. It's like, are you going to figure your ish out? Yes or no? Who knows? But you're not like, oh, well, that's it. It's over for me.
Right.
And I had this ex-boyfriend who I dated who was 11 years older than me. I was 22. He was 33. Right.
Wow.
And he said something to me that sometimes just a sentence in your life, you just never forget it, right? And at the time we were dating, and I was like, why don't you date any girls your age? And he's like, well, because if I date a girl that's 33, she's going to want a ring immediately. And he said, and the truth is that if you're a guy and you meet a girl and she's in her early 30s and no other guy wanted her, your first thought process is, what's wrong with her? What am I missing?
Wow.
And it never left me. It never left me.
Man, that is brutal.
And I've asked a few guys that question, and they've been like, to be honest, like, yeah, if I met a 33-year-old girl and everything looked right, And I would be like, okay, but what am I missing? Because you're so great
Yeah.
that like, why didn't some other guy swoop you up in your 20s? And so I think that it's a steeper climb for women for a lot of different reasons. I mean, obviously it has worked for people. I know people that have gotten married at 36. Like it can happen, but those I think are the exceptions and not the rules.
Do you wonder though if now, because I totally get that in principle, but now for women, especially millennial women who are raised in this feminist culture that said, don't get married, just pursue the widget factory career forever and just do you. And then these women come to their senses in their late 20s and early 30s. And they're otherwise great women who were basically just duped by the
feminism.
culture. I mean, I think that's a pretty large chunk these days.
Yeah, feminism can colonize your brain. I say it all the time on my show. I'm like, don't let it colonize. You will get to 30 and then you get to 33 and first it's, I'm having fun, living life, I'm doing me. And then suddenly you realize all your friends are getting married, all your friends are having children. Yeah. You're seeing all these announcements on Instagram and you're like, what was I thinking? You probably also walked away from a really good guy who liked you.
At least one.
Yeah, at least one, maybe two in your 20s, but you just thought that it was going to be forever. Your youth was going to be forever. And there is actually a biological change that happens. And I tell women this the whole time. Like, I remember being in my early 20s and I had the young, carefree mentality. I was also liberal in all my perspectives. Yeah. So I was eating up the feminist garbage, which is fine. I always say, you can experiment with feminists like a drug in college. It's fine. Yeah. You shouldn't keep on the drug.
You shouldn't be proud of it.
Yeah. You try the drug and then you gotta let it go, you know?
Yeah.
But yeah, so I had these feminist perspectives but then something changed and it wasn't a mental change. It was deeper than that. It was like biological, spiritual. Suddenly you're aware that you are a mammal. And I would say it happened around 27, 26, where I was like, must find, mate, have babies. Like, it's so weird. Yeah. And I'm seeing that happen to other women now that I'm friends with, and they're turning 27, 28, and they're like, must find, mate, have babies. So there is something that happens. There's a sea change that happens within women in their later 20s where suddenly all of the ideology means nothing, the sociology means nothing, and the biology overrides. And you're like, give me baby.
Yeah.
So when I met George, I said, I want kids. Like, I mean, it was the first date, you know?
Your first sentence, I think, was...
that I knew him. Yeah.
And you said, hello, nice to meet you, George. Give me baby.
Yeah, give me baby.
Right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we're married, happily married.
He acquiesced.
Works, ladies. I was like, I'm going to put all my crazy up front, and it worked.
It did. For people who don't know, 18 days.
18 days to meet my husband and before we got engaged. And I got it right.
You did get it right.
Yeah, he's so cute. I just love him.
Yeah. Cute.
He's so cute.
Cute? I don't know. Okay.
Cute, angry Englishman.
Yes. Yeah. He's very manly. He's very British, you know.
It's very British.
I don't know, cute. I'm up. No. Candace is up. Yells Ben Baby.
Didn't we fire him?
I thought so. I'm glad he didn't leave.
Yeah. Nobody listens to us around here. Mm-hmm. The law of attraction is harmless and is simply a vapid Instagram level therapy practiced among redheads, women who drink from Stanleys, and dudes named Skylar.
Vivid. Read the first part.
The law of attraction is harmless and is simply a vapid Instagram level therapy practiced among redheads, women who drink Stanleys, and dudes named Skylar.
What's a Stanley?
Oh my God, it's like the basic white girl cup that everyone has. Sometimes these things happen on TikTok where and then white girls go crazy. Like, we all have to do it right now. And it was a Stanley cup. And some girl was like, I drink so much water when I drink out of this cup. And then literally, every white girl in America bought the cup.
Yeah, I have seen...
and it's like $75.
I have seen white girls...
And it's got a little handle.
Yeah,
they're like, it's true, it works. I drink so much water. It just became a little white girl trend. It's actually really sweet.
That is sweet.
You think I'm going to say...
You're going to say no. And I'm certainly going to say no. Harmless, simply.
I agree.
Of course.
I agree.
Of course.
You're right.
Because it is all the things in the second part of the question. Mm-hmm. It's the law of attraction is just for depressed but eccentric women to try to make sense of a world that they find chaotic and confusing. But it's a cult. It's a cult. It's new age occultism, and it will drive you crazy. And and the women who go into it go completely insane.
No, I totally agree. Yeah. I totally agree. They're the ones that cry on TikTok.
Yeah, they do. With their Stanleys. They cry
with their Stanleys.
Mm-hmm.
$75 they paid for that.
That's so outrageous. Do
These
you
things
have one?
happen. No.
No. I wanted to see if I could get
Mark's safe from sunburns.
Yeah.
Or safe from Stanley Cups.
Yeah.
You're up.
I'm up.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I've met someone who I believe was possessed by a demon.
Oh my goodness. How do you think about that? Okay. Got it.
Correct? I'm not sure.
You know
I'm not
why?
Sure.
Because like, I felt no for you.
Yeah.
Because I just thought you see the good in everybody. So even if there was a demon, you'd be like, maybe they just had a bad day.
Maybe it was merely vexation. Maybe it wasn't total possession.
That would be yeah.
That's right. Yeah, I'm not confident, even if people who've had bizarre aspects to them. I'm not confident. I think, oddly enough, people knock me because they say that I talk about demons and angels and stuff too much. But I don't see demons under every rock. I think demonic possession is a basically rare thing, maybe increasingly prominent in our culture, but it's not every person who has a problem is possessed by a demon. They might be tempted or vexed by demons, but
yeah.
I think full-on possession is still pretty rare.
I think Hollywood is quite demonic.
Yeah,
and I see people possessed by it in a weird way that I've been like, I've seen people ruin their lives and on this quest for Hollywood level fame, and I think that's a demon. Like, and they can't shake it. It's really weird to watch someone destroy it.
So if not like a demon literally acting through their body,
yeah,
at the very least, a demon influencing.
Right.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So you think Hollywood is where you've seen it?
Yeah, it's very demonic. And
it is a demonic
I think,
place, yeah.
And then there's pathways to it, like Instagram. I've seen women like, I think it's a possession of sorts, and maybe it's not, like a full on demon, but to see the way that Instagram, think about the way that we grew up, and we were like playing outside and we have like scrapes on our knees, and I had braces and I was super ugly, but I thought I was cute in my braces.
Were you ugly as a little?
Well, I look like on pictures and I'm like, oh my God. I thought I was so cute, and I think everyone else thought I was cute too. And I was getting my braces changed different colors. I thought that was hot, and I smiled big in my middle school pics because I wanted people to see my teal braces.
Did you?
Yeah, I was like,
hid
these
my
are
braces.
dope.
I would do a smile like this.
I thought I was fly in my braces.
Maybe you were.
All the confidence in the world. And then I see these girls today, and they're getting like lip injections at 14 because they're spending so much time on Instagram, and they're seeing that's something's not right there. And willing to go under the knife. I mean, these are possessions of sorts, right?
Yeah.
And so whether it's demonic, true to being a demon, I don't know.
Yeah.
That probably isn't right. But the people are possessed, and social media causes, I think, possession.
Yeah, and it leads you down those paths. I mean, especially when people dabble in drugs, especially the mind-altering drugs, and when people fall into these crazy sins of pride, that really takes you down a bad path. But I've heard stories of firsthand accounts of people who like are speaking to people, and then they'll start yelling in Aramaic, kind of like that degree.
Yeah.
But even that is increasing in prevalence. I've spoken to exorcists who talking to an exorcist is sometimes, it's sort of like talking to a plumber. You think you're going to hear some amazing, wild story from an exorcist. Often it's just, then I had to unplug this person, they had this stupid demon flying around them. But the stories I hear from them are pretty wild.
Yeah,
and
George tells me that.
Yeah. George chats with these people.
Yeah.
And
not the demons, right?
Not the demons. I don't think so. Not anymore. We've put that behind us. But talking to exorcists now, they say the phone rings more often today than it used to.
Yeah. There's something going on. You can feel it in the climate, and definitely within Hollywood, and it's programming people in a way that I think I just have questions about it.
Yeah.
But
I agree. Especially Hollywood. Gomorrah by the sea.
Yes, drink.
Am I up or is it you?
Me.
It's you. Okay. I totally lose track.
I want to find the person who's writing these. Remind me to do that after. Yeah. Pfizer is more trustworthy than Carly Russell. I'm obsessed.
Yeah, with the Carly Russell thing.
I am obsessed.
I don't even, all I've seen about it is from you.
Yeah. Okay, just stop then, because you just need to understand so you can actually answer this question.
Okay.
Like, this black girl goes missing, and like they find her running car. She calls 911, says there's a toddler on the side of the road, right? And then she hangs up the phone call, reports the toddler. The toddler kind of looks like Tommy Pickles, wearing a t-shirt and a diaper. Yeah. She hangs up the phone, and then she calls her sister-in-law, and she's like talking to her like, I'm gonna try to talk to this toddler. She gets out of the car, her sister-in-law hears just scream. Police get there 5 minutes later. Carly's wig is on the side of the road. This is in Alabama, okay? Her wig's on the side of the road, her purse, her keys, her Apple Watch, and the car is running. And obviously this is on the side of a like I-495 in Alabama. It's like kind of a busy road. And so this manhunt ensues for 49 hours.
People for the toddler?
For the toddler and Carly, you know, and everyone,
because they only found the wig, rather.
They only found the wig,
not her.
The keys. They didn't find her, right? And so, of course, this was instantly you were condemned if you were white and you were not talking about this, because the reason why you don't know the story is because you're racist.
That's why,
right? If you didn't share a story and try to get her, it's because black girls don't get any love, blah blah blah. Long story short, she turns up 49 hours later at her parents' house, and she's in a catatonic state, and she won't talk to the police, but. You know, so there's this like long wait to figure out what happened, and they're going, "Why aren't you telling us like where the toddler is?" Like she's just like her family's like, "Leave us alone. She needs to heal mentally." And I was instantly like, "This is Jussie Smollett 2.0."
Yeah, whoa.
And it ended up being worse than Jussie Smollett, as in like she snatched her own wig. She told the police a story that like some guy with red balding hair, Prince Harry type character, took her into the woods. Might have been him, but he's not strong enough. Threw her over a fence, put her in an 18-wheeler, fed her Cheez-Its. I mean, you got to get it. It is like she makes Jussie Smollett look like child's play.
And you know what? You know why, Candace? The only reason you're talking about this is because you're a racist.
I know. And then they did that. Then they switched and they said, you better talk about it. And then if you started talking about it, within 7 hours, they were like, how dare you have any questions?
But you just told me.
You just told us we all to talk about it. It is a glorious story. It's like you cannot miss it because it's better than Jussie Smollett. Okay. And it's
so the question is Pfizer more credible than this person?
Yes.
Yeah, man. At least she didn't poison the world.
I know she didn't poison the world. So at the end of the day, I trust Carly Russo more than I trust Pfizer.
Obviously.
Easy.
Okay. I've cried in the past year.
The past year?
Actually, we'll need to define cry.
Oh, okay. Got it.
We need to define cry.
I personally feel like you cried this morning.
Well, it depends how you, so.
You did.
I did, because I thought I have the joy of drinking with Candace today. Oh, and it was tears of joy. No, I have cried, deaths in the family kind of thing, but is it a cry? Because I feel that the way I cried was very manly.
Yeah.
And the way I cried is the way a man ought to cry, which is, at the moment of intense, you're at the funeral or something and this loved one is being sent off. You kind of let a tear or two. Yeah, it's like yes, but you hold it. It's not like, like Johnny Fontaine in The Godfather. Yeah. I don't know. It's just like, you kind of let the one, you kind of just wipe it away like that. So I've done that. But I haven't started bawling or anything like that.
In the last year, no bawling.
No bawling.
You weren't like...
Only BALLIN apostrophe. I'm bawling all the time, but I have not been bawling.
Yes. I actually can think of one time in the past year that I was boohoo. I'm not a big crier, but people think it's weird, but I don't cry a lot.
Yeah, you're pretty tough.
Yeah, but I boohooed cried in... It was just way too much stress going on in my life, I think in October, where... I mean, it was just a month where I think Savannah and I traveled 26 days out of 30 days. We had the Kanye controversy going on.
That was
the documentary was coming out. Savannah literally almost died in Paris, like of an allergic reaction. I just remember, and then I got home. Don't forget, I was postpartum, and then all my hair started falling out at the same time because you get like postpartum shedding.
Yeah.
And I just remember, like I was in the shower, and like the hair, I was holding in my hands, and it was like during all this stuff going on, I was like, I can't.
Women take that very hard.
Anything else? I was like, please.
What's so weird about that?
Stop.
So that was a tough month, obviously, but. every woman takes that so hard, but it's a natural thing.
It's a natural thing.
But they all start crying because
I think for me, it was just like, if it had just happened by itself.
You might have.
Without like Kanye West anti-Semitism scandal, George Floyd documentary coming out, like everything that was had Savannah literally almost dying in Paris. And I just was like, I was like, I can take nothing else. And then I take a shower and my hair, and I was like,
that's the limit.
And I boohoo cried by myself in the shower. And that's the only time I can think of in the last year where I like properly boohoo cried.
Yeah.
And it was nice. I get why people like to cry.
Cathartic.
Yeah, it's nice. It was cathartic. And I felt better after. No, I didn't, because my hair was still in my head.
It's still gone. But it's back now, looking beautiful.
It grew back. It's fine.
And
my daughter's really cute. Louise is really cute.
My goddaughter. My goddaughter, absolutely. Well, she is a very cute. Both of your children are very cute.
Yeah. She's so sweet. Georgie's
a tough little guy.
Georgie, I'm scared of him.
Yes. Because he's already like...
He's just such a guy.
Yeah, he's already like riding motorcycles is the thing. He's very advanced. Everyone says, oh, my child's very advanced. Your children, both of them, are very advanced.
He told me to build him a house yesterday. And I was like, that's not a normal sentence from a 2-year-old. Like I said, don't hit your sister. And he said, no, build me a house. And I pointed at the end. I was like, that's not a normal. I don't have the tools in the shed.
I didn't ask you if it was normal, mommy. Now get to building.
So 2-year-olds are crazy. We all know that. Terrorists.
I'll drink anyway.
Yeah. You drank because I cried and I lost my hair. And nobody was there for me. Yeah. I'm up.
I haven't remembered a single one. And I've had like 4 sips of this martini.
It's worse to be skinny fat than gym thick. Ooh. Okay, I got mine.
Correct?
Correct.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
I totally think it's better.
It's a cope for the gym thick bros who are trying to say otherwise, but no,
I know. No. I think it's better to be gym thick.
Oh.
So you're wrong. Drink up.
What?
Yeah. Because then at least you're in shape.
What?
Whereas if you're skinny fat, then you're not strong. You gotta get strong.
I'd like to point out that both the father of your children and the godfather of your daughter neither of us are a gym thick bros.
Yeah, but gym thick could also be for girls. Actually, I don't know, but I made you drink anyways.
You did. That's fine. Now I'm getting thicker by the sip.
That's the point, yeah.
Going to the dentist is pointless and fake, much like recycling or taking women's studies in college. I'm just going to leave your cup right there.
Smile. Smile. I feel like you're a dentist, bro. You are a dentist, bro.
Candace, I could not tell you the last time I went to the dentist.
Oh my God.
Now I use a very fancy toothbrush.
Do you?
So that it's like relatively white. Even with all the cigars and the coffee, and they stay relatively white.
Yeah.
I don't. Do you know though?
Smile when I asked you to smile. So that was
I didn't want to give it away.
Cheat, yeah.
Do you know the only time that I would go to the dentist? 2:30.
2:30. What does that mean?
2:30.
Oh my gosh, dad jokes. Oh my gosh. Drink for that.
Happily.
It's 2:30. Okay, you got this right. You did get this right.
I did. Yeah. You're not. So let me see.
I do.
You have actually beautiful.
Because I love the orthodontist.
But how did they stay so white?
I have an obsession with the orthodontist. Huh. Well, I have an obsession with brushing my teeth. I actually have a mental dental disorder. Like, I think I am constantly trying to perfect my teeth. I go to the orthodontist.
They're excellent teeth.
I love my orthodontist. Thank you.
You still go to the orthodontist? I wish I
could still wear my braces. This kind of goes back to 7th grade when I thought my braces were cool. I have an affinity for the orthodontist.
You want to hear a secret? I've never said this on air. I wear my retainer every night.
I wear my retainer every day. And Michael says that I have a problem. She's like, why are you wearing a retainer? I'm supposed to wear it. And I was just like, it just makes me feel safe.
By the way, if you take it out for like 2 nights, your teeth move around.
I know. That's the whole point.
Even still. Yeah.
I know. So I actually thinking about getting a metal bar on the back of my bottom row. Because everyone has.
That's like body modification.
The point is if all of the mental disorders to have, many to choose from today, a mental dental disorder feels okay. But I think my orthodontist is tired of seeing me.
Yeah.
He's like, I can't fix this anymore.
I mostly see 11-year-olds.
I'm like, in the mirror, I'm like,
Candace, you're not. You do. Wow. Yeah. And you floss.
Oh, I floss like a psycho.
Wow.
Yeah, I love it.
I floss sort of annually. I think the tobacco and the alcohol.
I think you're meant to be an Englishman.
I am.
I think it's like, it's just get to Rowan and you'll be all right.
Yeah. You're up.
A night of drinking and smoking with the boys is a healthy practice for married men.
Totally. You would agree with that. I know you would agree with that. I know. I would be shocked. Well, you know that I agree with that. But
yeah, guys need their guy time.
Thank you.
100%.
I felt 50-50, actually. I just wanted to be
like when George
confident.
tells me when he comes back after you guys go to the cigar lounge, he tells me what you guys talk about. I'm like, I'm so glad you talked to Michael Knowles about that because I just don't want to talk about that.
I have no interest.
Yeah.
I know.
Couldn't be less interested in what you and Michael Knowles talked about. It's a wonderful conversation about this.
It is my entire social life. My entire go out social life is going to the cigar lounge with your husband and maybe one other guy or two other guys.
Yeah, the same for my husband.
Yes.
And he needs that. And in the same way that women need their girl time, and because we talk about really stupid things. So I'm so compelled by political topics and whatever the dilemma is of the day, but I also need to talk about really stupid, basic things with my girlfriends, which is I find fascinating because I'm like, no, Candace, so much more than this. Why do you care about this ridiculous scandal? And I'm like, no. This is everything. And it's not everything. I know it's not everything. And I'm very practical, but I'm still a woman.
It's pleasurable. And
because it's relaxing. Women like to gossip. I mean, it really goes back to hunters and gatherers. Men, I mean, it's different.
Because legitimately, over the countless hours and countless cigars and drinks with your husband specifically, we have almost entirely talked about routing the Saracens out of Jerusalem.
Yeah, it's really not.
And stuff.
That's not fun talk for me. And that's just not fun. That's not relaxing to me. I feel like you guys are just engaging your brains for fun. Whereas women, I'm impressed. He'll be, I saw Michael and just giving you an example of when you guys had your last kid. Oh, and Alyssa's pregnant again. I'm like, is it a boy or a girl? He's like, I didn't ask. What did you didn't ask? I'm like, what did they do? He's like, I didn't ask. I'm like, what kind of information? I'm like, how are you not interested enough to ask these basic questions? He's like, I don't know. Men are just different.
I had that exact same conversation when I came back and I mentioned to Elisa that you, for the first time now, in after 2 children, we're off track to keep up. And I said, Candace is pretty. She goes, oh, wow, that's so wonderful. She said, oh, wow, that's so wonderful, Mag. Wow, and so what did George say? How far along is she? And when? And what is the sex? And it was like, how am I supposed to know that?
Unbelievable. I don't know how you guys do this. I'm like, George, what do you mean you didn't ask this question? He's like, I just said, okay.
I'm glad you're, I'm glad you're.
Men and women just doesn't work the same. Our interests are just very different.
That's true. I'm up.
You're up.
I get the last one.
You got the last one.
Not being white helped my career. Okay, so you're answering as me.
Yeah.
And I'm answering as you.
But you are white. So I'm very confused by this.
Not being white. So if that is your premise that you're starting with, then you're going to have to answer a certain way. But okay, so not being white has helped my career. Candace, how could you be so foolish?
What? But you are white.
Candace, the Sicilians are a racially liminal people. They're very marginal. Yeah. And look, in my wayward youth, I made a number of mistakes. One of which was I was briefly a professional actor. And I did little parts in TV shows and movies and things like that, plays. Now, they classify you when you're an actor. Are you white? Are you black? Or are you ethnically ambiguous? Now, having a little bit, so I'm a little lighter right now. In California, it was darker. When you're a little ethnically ambiguous, one time I got a great. This was the job that got me eligible for SAG, the Screen Actors Guild, which is a terrible union actually. I got to play the white part and the Hispanic part.
Wow!
Because I was ethnically ambiguous and putting my wayward youth, my indiscretions of my past aside, I think about my actual life and career. I actually believe being a little bit darker has allowed me to be a little bit edgier. when I talk about certain topics.
So if you were Irish looking.
If I were Irish, Nordic, I think I actually, if I were really waspy looking, I don't think I'd get away with
So
being
if you
as
looked
loose.
like George.
George, I would not get away with it. I could carry Thor's hammer around, but I would not be able to opine. The Mediterraneans and the darker, you know this in popular culture, the Italians get away with a lot more.
Yeah.
They get away with crime.
Yeah. It's true.
Lewdness. Obscenity.
No, it's true.
They do.
It is. It's a minority.
Yes, because it's kind of a minority.
Also, you guys were treated like absolute dirt when you got here.
We were,
it's
actually.
Like, people never talk about that. I'm like, if you want to talk about like people that should be upset about things that happened in yesteryear, the Italians were treated like dogs when they got here.
Numbers-wise, the Italians were not the most
Also Irish. People. Irish need not apply.
Do you know the largest mass lynching in American history?
No, I don't.
The Italians. 11 Italians in New Orleans.
Wow, I did not know that. That's a very fun fact.
That is, and nobody knows it. Now, it wasn't, like numbers-wise, I would say probably black people were the majority of lynchings, but it was the Italians. Wow. A lot of people, everybody can claim a little bit of historical oppression.
Yeah. Okay, so why did you pick yes for me?
Well, because you have this, you have this great ability, which is you come out, right?
Compliment me.
I will. You come out. And you're in this culture. You didn't choose to be in this culture, but you're in this culture that says, if you're black, you've got to be a big lib, and we'll reward you for being a big lib, by the way. But you got to be a big lib, and you'll be this advantaged ethnic background, and white people are terrible, and just go along with us. And then you come out and you say, no, actually, that's all a bunch of BS, and here's why it's BS. And especially in the early part of your career, you just kind of laid it out flat. And so you were punished for that initially by the mainstream. But I think you were ultimately rewarded because it put you in this position where you uniquely were listened to, you uniquely were hated, you uniquely were threatened, you uniquely were, but it blew you up into the mainstream.
Yeah.
Where now you can talk about whatever you want.
Moment too, because it was, people were just so much more vicious, I think, because they were like, it's one thing to say you're black conservative, but how could you support Trump was sort of the environment.
Yeah. How could you be, look, there are plenty of black conservatives, but you're kind of you're a real conservative.
Right. Okay, and I'm also very vocal, which I always say. Dr. Ben Carson, who was so sweet when I met him, and he's like, you've been able to do so much more in terms of communicating your ideas than I was throughout my career. And obviously he's a literal brain surgeon. He's obviously much more brilliant than I am.
Do you remember at the debate, I said, what's your most thing you're proudest of? And everyone said, I beat this Democrat or whatever. And he goes, I separated conjoined twins at the head.
Casual, same. But and I remember saying to him, it's because you were way too polite, And I think that's the difference is there's a certain decorum to like Dr. Ben Carson and Dr. Condoleezza Rice, and they're just sort of like, I'm not going to engage when they get called an Uncle Tom and a coon. And I'm just like, no, I'm here and I'm willing to engage. Like I will 100% get into an argument with somebody. And I think that sort of startled people because typically black conservatives were just shut down. And when they said something, it was like, you're a traitor, you're a race traitor, whatever. And people were like, okay.
You also did this thing, which it just means you took the opportunity. This doesn't have to do with your race, but it means you took the opportunity where a lot of times someone becomes, I'm the black conservative. They'll just stay there in that little box. And you said, well, I don't know, I'll talk about race sometimes, but I have many more things to say.
Yeah.
And so you even kind of beat them at that game where you said, no, I'm going to talk about vaccines. I'm going to talk about religion. I'm going to talk about this. I'm going to talk about Trump. I'm going to talk about that. I'm going to talk about foreign policy. I'm going to talk about Russia. I'm going to talk. And it just totally.
Yeah, I actually have sent an article that somebody wrote and they called my topics on my podcast, the unholy conservative gumbo. I quite like that. He was meant to be insulting. And I was like, it's actually a really funny article. But I agree, there's no question that, but I always question in my head, I'm like, what if I did it as a liberal? Like, what if I was Candace Owens and I was, George Floyd dies. I'm front and center. I'm doing the media circuit at MSNBC and CNN. I'm debating Michael Knowles, right? Talking about how amazing Greta Thunberg is and how the environment, you don't care about the environment because you don't have to breathe the same air Black people have to breathe, whatever. I think I would have.
You'd be richer.
I'd be richer.
You'd be richer.
I would, the deals. Think
You'd be
about
rich.
it, what they would have given to me. Look at Van Jones.
Yeah, yeah.
Freaking Jeff Bezos for no reason gave him $30 million.
Yeah. You'd be
I
richer.
would be so much richer. And that's what I tell people. I'm like, if I was a liberal, I would have done it so much better than you. So much better than you.
That's true. It may
And I'm like, they're like, you went to Republican side because it paid. I'm like, girl, if I wanted to make money, all I had to do was say Black Lives Matter and be the same Candace Owens. That's it. Go after conservatives, would have had a good time.
Right. It would have helped your career.
Crushed Matt Walsh.
You would have destroyed him. That would have been a great advantage.
Crushed him.
You know? Yeah. If you had done that, your career would have benefited materially and in the short term.
Yeah. I could have sold my
Your soul would have been destroyed. Yeah. Candace, to your health, to your child, I'll drink for the two of us. A pleasure as always. We'll see you next time, and I'll see you.